Welcome to the Pulse of the Heartland podcast, the podcast where no topic is off limits. Now welcome the boys of the Heartland, Bryant, Ryan, Clark, Joey, and Trent.
Welcome to the Pulse of the Heartland podcast. This is episode 27. This is the Funcast here. We are going to... oh my.
That is what we're looking forward to.
Kicking it off.
Yeah. We are going to get you ready for the weekend here and hit a whole bunch of topics. Joey, how can everybody get a hold of us and complain about the belching in the microphones?
Why are there pieces of chicken in my ear?
Oh, shit. I didn't have chicken. I don't know where you got that from.
That's a different story. Never mind. Move on.
What are you and Rebecca doing these days?
Corn? I didn't have any corn. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Heartland Pulse. You can also look us up on Facebook. Just search Pulse of the Heartland. We also share it on our personal feeds. And then find us on YouTube. We just did a couple live videos back to back, the divisional round and the championship round. Planning on putting a few more of those out. Those are really fun. You can hit us up in the comments on those and also just talk shit to us, which is really fun. I'm super happy with that. We had a really good time. If we can ever get Carl in on one, it'll be even better.
One of these days, you might track down the lumberjack.
Maybe.
Very elusive.
But you can also hear us on all the major platforms: Spotify, Google, Apple, iHeartRadio, and the Anchor link if you need it. Hit us up. Let us know.
All right. Joey, what are you drinking?
I am doing another Roland Pro IPA from the good old Logboat Brewing Company. I think I'm going to try and talk to the owners next time. They came over and talked to us a little bit tonight, and I was just chatting them up about the podcast, and I was like, yeah, I tagged you a couple times on Twitter. Hopefully another one will get it and maybe become a sponsor for them. So that'd be fun.
That'd be
or
cool.
They can become a sponsor for this. And at least give me free beer. That's all I care about.
Just benefiting Joey.
Yeah, if they're giving you beer, we expect you to ship us each some, okay? Splitsies. Come on.
Well, I would expect like a free 6-pack for every $100 I spend, which would be fine.
That's the least they could do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Clark, what are you drinking?
So I ran out of my Templeton 4-year bottle, and I haven't opened the next one yet. So I'm currently working on the Pendleton, which I've got a couple drinks yet left in that bottle. So a little bit of Pendleton, a little bit of Coke, just, feeling a little bullish right now. Like I might just go rope something. I don't feeling a little risky.
All right. Well, Ryan, what are you drinking?
I'm going with the Leinenkugel's original.
Ooh, there's no such thing.
Got it in my hand, bro.
Fake news.
Yep.
Come on, bro.
Been bold. And Bryant, what are you drinking?
I haven't seen it in a while. They actually were selling a Crown Royal Peach at the gas station I go to. So grabbed a bottle of that, and I just got enough to sip on for the Funcast here.
Nice. My coworker, Kayla, she is not so much of a woman's woman. No, that sounds terrible. Kayla is very feminist. Don't get me wrong, but she loves.
I feel like this is a lawsuit waiting to happen.
I'm sorry, Kayla.
The opinions expressed by Joey do not represent those of Pulse of the Heartland.
Yolanda, you are my favorite. I'm sorry about that. But she loves the peach, and she's very happy sipping on it, I guess. That's all I got. Jesus Christ. That was terrible.
What do you think of the peach, Bryant?
I haven't tried it yet. I've been listening to Joey backpedal too hard.
I'm going to text her right now and tell her she's on the podcast.
Please do not listen to Friday's pod.
Start listening at minute 10.
I'm gonna have to edit this out, ain't I? Damn it.
Yeah, no,
you are not. No,
you're not.
Trent, what are you drinking?
Oh my! I am still drinking Lion's Paw Lager by Fernson Brewing Company in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Joey, have your goofy foot from your mouth yet?
Yeah, because you're next up, Joy. We're gonna go and talk about some smoking and the agenda. I like this. Joey Cheese Blocks.
I just text cheese blocks.
Joey Cheese Blocks made a shit ton of cheese this weekend.
Oh fuck! All right. Hold on. Let me get centered here.
Let's go, Cheesy B. What you got, bro?
I just text Kayla and said, "Please listen to Friday's podcast," and I am so sorry. So, Kayla, for the 1 in a million time that I've had to apologize to you, I am so sorry. You're literally one of the sweetest people and one of my favorite people in the world. So I'm sorry that I said you were not a ladies' lady. That's oh my god, that's so bad.
I would just move on.
That is straight from the heart
gonna get better.
of Joey Cheese Blocks.
So anyway, Joey.
It sounded sincere. I'm giving him this one.
I am very sincere. Yolanda will understand. She's amazing. Joey Cheese Blocks. If you watch the YouTube live stream, I had my nephews, yeah, 2 of them, 2 twins, second birthday, and I made smoked cream cheese on the smoker and made 4 different flavors. I made a taco, a steak seasoning, a wing seasoning, and man, what was my 4th one?
Chicken.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, barbecue. Thank you, Bryant. Yeah, Bryant was there. You could see me in the background, making faces at Bryant and stuff. And spaceship griller that I was using, and it'll blow your eardrums out. I'm sorry. But yeah, good stuff. Everyone really liked them. I only have a little bit left, so always good. And I'm gonna get snowed in for the next 2 days, so I'll eat the shit out of that. So that's good. But yeah, smoked cream cheese, man. It's where it's at if you're making appetizers and stuff. Super easy. Super good to eat. Everyone seems to like it.
I'm really curious. You said taco. Did you just use like a McCormick's taco seasoning packet, or how did you do that?
So I buy the Old El Paso, the big taco seasoning, because I make a lot of taco salad. Yeah, I just put that on the outside, and it was awesome.
Sweet.
So I was at Hy-Vee this weekend, and I sent a picture of this, and I sent it to Dr. Hall. But Bryant and Joey will probably know more what I'm talking about. I found packaged taco seasoning that was Tasty Taco brand. Had no idea.
I've seen that around Des Moines.
Really?
He was just telling me about that today, and he's like, I think he was getting confused between Taco Tico and Tasty Taco. But he's like, but there was a time whenever I was in Des Moines, and there was Tasty Taco.
Yeah, that's why I sent it to Dr. Hall, because when he was doing residency or whatever he did in Des Moines, we've talked about this in the past where he'd go to Tasty Taco because Tasty Taco is legit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd never seen the taco seasonings before.
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe they just sell them in the store, to be honest.
Oh, really? Yeah, I found it at Hy-Vee. So, yeah.
Ryan, is that where we went to get tacos that one time when I came down to visit you? Was that Tasty Taco or was that Taco Time?
No, it'll be Tasty Tacos, and they have them all around Des Moines and the Ankeny area. So if you haven't, for some reason, tried it, definitely give them a shot. There's a reason why there's like 8 to 10 of them around the area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The best thing about them when I went with Bryant is they do like fresh ground beef that's just like sitting there, and they make the tacos while you order them, which is, I mean, obviously Taco Bell and stuff has that, I guess, if it's, fresh ground beef, but this was actual fresh ground beef, and it was very good.
Are they all owned by one guy, or is this like a franchisee opportunity? Maybe I need a. Oh, son, I was really hoping they'd be open to expanding to the Wichita area. Maybe I can jump in on that,
Marry into the family, I guess. That's the one way to get in, bud.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to divorce my new wife and soon-to-be baby, I guess.
For business opportunities.
We will put one at Mile High Stadium when we buy the Broncos.
Yeah,
Or the Dolphins.
Or the Dolphins.
All indoor dining options will be Tasty Taco.
Put in Newton. I see Lupe's went. They're no longer in business. So
yeah, that is correct.
There's a market there for now.
I ate there once. One time in
I
like
ate there
7 years. Here.
I ate there one time in the 10 years I lived in Newton.
I don't think we covered this on any other podcasts, but Clark, you went to the Burrito Fest that was our fantasy football league dining. How were all the burritos there?
Well, they were delicious, the few that I had. So I showed up. It was in the evening because I had been at something earlier that day. So whenever I showed up, I got a couple burritos. And then the container that you would get them out of, the warmer, it never got refilled. I'm like, are they really out? Like, are they not going to put out any more burritos? And Tori's like, nah, that was it. They're gone. Everybody's eating them. It's like, well, son of a bitch. So they're like pork chili burritos. Absolutely amazing. Like, so delicious. Yeah. I could have probably eaten 10, but all I could get my hands on were 3. I didn't realize it wasn't going to get filled up again. Otherwise, I would have just taken the probably 6 that were in there for myself. So
damn.
Yeah.
More importantly, were you pushing the podcast when you were there?
Oh yeah. I had to make an announcement, and if they don't subscribe, they're not invited to the football league next year.
Perfect. I like it.
That might be a lie, but I don't know.
I can feel that.
I'll have to talk to Cubby here in the off season, see if he can make a few moves.
Cubby's Worldwide, sponsored by Pulse of the Heartland.
Oh, that sounds great.
I like the chances there. I like the idea.
There you go. Anybody else do anything on their smoker this weekend?
No, did not do any cooking. However, I received a large shipment of meat.
I saw your picture. It was
yeah. The in-laws they bought a half a cow, and we were having some festivities with them this weekend. So whenever they picked it up, they were on their way down here. So they just brought it all to my house. Thank God I got an upright freezer that could fit it all. Like,
that thing was damn full, dude.
Oh yeah, they like emptied it out and then just stacked it full of this cow. So there were 130 pounds of hamburger in there, and then just your different steaks. I've got 2 briskets in there, which I think that's the thing I probably don't like about just buying the cow is it's not a packer brisket. It's just the flats.
Yeah,
is how they do it. Which understanding it, probably those point meats are probably in a steak somewhere stacked inside that thing. But I don't know, just something about doing that packer brisket on a smoker is just so fun. But I'm looking forward to cooking everything that's in there.
Do you cut the fat between or not?
Between a packer brisket, or are you talking? Because I only have flats, but
oh yeah, sorry.
Whenever I've done brisket cooks here in the past, I never separated the cuts. But I mean, I would trim them down, and yes, try to get as much of that decolled trim back as I could with that, that big fat piece that runs between them. But I would still do the cook as one whole brisk, pat point on top of flat. Torres, one of our listeners we mention a lot, he was trying to convince me last time to split them out. So whenever he does one, he splits the flat and the point and then cooks them separately. But I didn't have the cojones to do it, so maybe next time.
I like that. I do like that fat in between. Kind of gives my top end of the point a little more juice than so you don't always get just burn ends on one end. You get a little bit of a point where you can cut it up and stuff. I like that, and you can almost shred it. So I don't know, to each their own. I like doing what I do, and I think that what you do would also make a very good brisket.
I think one of the things I'm most excited about cuts that are in there are the beef ribs. There's a couple cuts of ribs in there that I'm really excited to try. I've never done that yet, so I'm looking forward to those.
They are going to shrink, I will tell you that. Every time I do beef ribs, they shrink like crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I didn't do anything on the smoker. I ate some food that was done on the smoker this weekend. James did the Traeger Hellfire wings, which is probably my favorite wing flavor. just Google Traeger Hellfire wings. I've made them before on mine. The recipe is pretty easy, but they are fantastic.
If only they could make a smoker as good as the rub.
I know. Yeah. And we also did some homemade ice cream. So I don't know if anybody else is a big fan of homemade ice cream. We like it. So
did you not go home this weekend, Trent?
No, we didn't. I was under the weather. I was a little under the weather. So we decided it'd be our best interest to just stay here. So we just hung out in South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ryan, is your smoker still being lonely after
It's
you got
still
fixed?
It is still lonely, but I am planning the Saturday of Super Bowl weekend to do a Boston Butt on there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You still got a Sunday before then, so you might as well just practice this weekend.
That's true. I do have some ribs that still need to be made.
There you go.
I'm telling you, mid-smoke injection is the way to go. We had pulled pork that I made, I don't know, a long time. When we first started the podcast, that I probably did, 40 pounds of pulled pork. And injecting right when you go to wrap, it makes it so juicy and so good. And you can freeze it and it still tastes just as good.
That's what I love about doing like pulled stuff is I love to cook it in a big batch because I love to use that in so many other recipes. You could get it out, warm it up a little bit, put it across some nachos or something, put it in your chili, use it for some quesadillas. I mean, shit, you can just use that in everything.
So I tried to buy back some from the people I made it for, which was my in-laws or my brother's in-laws, basically my in-laws. Anyway, after I had this weekend, I was like, man, can I buy some back so I can just have some? And they're like, we really like it. We're going to keep using it. So no. And I was like, oh, well, shit. Okay, that's fine.
Clark likes to cook his pork butts in 100-pound increments.
That's right.
We did that this spring.
Anything less, and it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
I think you call that the Big Booty Judy.
Clark fed his whole wedding party. Well, not the wedding party, was
the briskets.
Yeah, the briskets. You fed the whole reception on pork butts.
That's right.
It's dang good too.
Thank you.
Right.
And we all know the secret was that Lowry seasoned salt.
Yep. Can't go wrong there. Think we've already went over that before. The secret is to put it on popcorn and all that good stuff. So,
oh yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah.
Shout out Lowry's.
So let's hop into college football here. National Signing Day is Wednesday, so 2 days ago from when the pod comes out, tomorrow from when we're recording. I did see that Iowa State they're going to sign a 4-star kicker and punter. So,
nice.
I mean, we're probably going to win the Big 12 now.
Like he does both, or they've got a 4-star 2 people kicker and also a punter.
It's the same person.
Okay. Multi-talented.
Yeah, I can't remember what he was, like the 12th rated punter in the class and the 18th rated kicker in the class.
Well, if he doesn't have a name like Ass Alley, I don't even know if he's going to be worth it.
Ass Alley didn't even really kick field goals for us towards that last half of the season. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, Bryant, but Mevis kind of took that over.
I would say that's where I was a little shocked we were able to get him. What year is Mevis? Is he a?
I think Mevis is gone.
Okay, well then yeah, I would say I know Mevis kicked ass, and we could kind of see where some of these games where a couple years ago on that the 9-3 year where it was 3 special teams plays that really screwed over where at this point keep getting the we need to have, we saw it in the Iowa game, a punter made the biggest difference in that game with field position. So as long as they keep doing the special teams, I'm all for it. We're going to have a lot of overturn next year. We're going to need something as big as special teams to be stepping up.
Yep, I totally agree. Looks like Brian Kelly's doing some big things down there in Baton Rouge.
Dude, BK is a changing culture down in LSU. I'll tell you what. So there's 33 scholarships to give, or 32, I believe, and we've already got 25 players signed on for next year, being from early signings and transfers. He's kicking ass with the transfers. I think we got 5-star recruits and quite a few 4-star recruits too. So we'll see if they make any more big 5 stars or 4 stars tomorrow. But yeah, LSU is letting Brian Kelly be himself, unlike how he was in Notre Dame. I think they were holding him back, guys.
Do we have an over/under on how many years it is before we have some player come out and say that BK was humping their leg?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've already have video of it. So
yeah, those videos are so I just watch
cringy.
Them cringe.
They're
I'm
terrible,
like,
but they're so awesome. I hope we get a lot more tomorrow on signing day.
Yeah.
More good recruits or more awesome videos?
Both.
Okay.
Little column A, little column B.
Okay. The big transfer, Caleb Williams, he has landed at USC. He's meeting up with his old coach out there.
After teasing the Big Ten and saying he was going to go to Wisconsin.
Nope. Going to the Pac-12. Maybe the Pac-12 can win a bowl game this year with him.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
Are you going to dominate the SEC?
What's that?
Is OU going to dominate the SEC with all these awesome moves?
No, they're not. No.
It's Utah's conference. We all know that.
Texas is going to.
Texas, they're going to be good in the okay.
They're dominating the SEC.
OU is the house fire. It's just going to blow up in flames.
Turnpike Troubadours.
God damn it. That was one. I didn't even. God. Good word.
Joey's been listening to them for like 3 weeks. Good poll.
He's been listening to them for a lot longer than 3 weeks. Okay,
right.
It's been at least 6.
Down here, BK runs the whole damn town. He just plays a little song, and then everyone takes a long drive home and gets okay.
Does all that take place on a long, hot summer day?
Oh,
all right.
Yes,
it's diamonds of gasoline.
Oh, Jesus.
Good Lord, Lori. Would you just hang it up?
I will. Back in 1968, I will.
Or was it 69?
Pipe Bomb Dream.
Oh, my.
I just get that old-time feeling now.
So is Iowa, are they getting any recruits this year, Joey, or no?
Iowa, oh, my God. No one even looks at the transfer portal in Iowa. That's just a thing that pops up on their Google messages. Hey, this guy entered the transfer portal. Click. That's got to be spam. That's got to be spam, right, Brian? Yeah, Dad, that's spam. So why Brian Ferentz has a Southern accent, Kirk doesn't. Yeah, Papa, just click out of that, baby. You don't want to know that shit.
So does that mean Joey's ready to talk about college basketball?
I mean, no. Iowa's going to have a good recruiting class this year, not in the transfer portal. If they're going to have more people leaving than they are bringing in, which kind of sucks, but whatever.
Has anybody heard of any new developments as far as NIL deals or any structures?
I haven't heard anything. No.
I'm curious to see if anything kind of develops, if they give it any more structure, or if any other teams go the old Texas route.
I did see that Lane Kiffin brought up that it's like the new salary cap, but for just college. And someone asked him, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, if I wasn't in the SEC, I would be struggling to bring in people." He's like, "I can give them, more opportunities down here than I can anywhere else." So I don't know if Lane leaves Ole Miss now.
By opportunities, he means monies.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was the one that said it in a press conference like a month ago, that he just straight out said, he's like, "This is free agency now. These recruits are telling me, hey, this school is going to give me this much. What can you give me?"
Mm-hmm.
So he said, free agency is in the NCAA.
I mean, we'd be stupid to think that didn't happen before.
But
Here's
now
the
it's
thing.
just open.
It's not like NFL salary cap where it's got a limit. This is MLB salary cap. It's just what you can afford.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, look to Notre Dame to get back in this shit. Maryland will make a huge jump on the Under Armour shit. And Oregon's going to jump right back in it with that Nike stuff. I mean,
look at Texas right now. They just that Ewers. I mean, do you think if they didn't have all that money that they're going to throw at him, allegedly, 6 figures to start off, let alone everything else he's going to get down there? I mean, Texas, I believe, is the most profitable college football. And again, as much as I don't know if that was just a bid or if you're shitting on Oklahoma, but I mean, both of those teams make money, doing college football, and everyone else is just playing it for a sport. In SEC, I'm talking Big 12 going into SEC, but I think with OU in a realistic sense, NIL or not, I think we're going to have to see if Venables actually makes a difference there. See this year one before if we actually see if they're going to compete in the SEC or not.
All right. So off of that, Bryant, I think that Oklahoma State gets bigger recruits in the next 5 years than Oklahoma does, based on their money backing with Boone Pickens. And then also, if you are a recruit and you get on a national stage with Oklahoma State, if they can get huge recruits, they can run the Big 12 for a while based on how much money they can pay people. They could make a bigger splash than OU does in the SEC.
T. Boone Pickens died 2 years ago.
Well, his trust is still there, right?
Not sure. I'm just looking at. I don't know how that trust goes if they have all of the money for it, or if it, like you said, if it's still in a trust over there.
Well, I'm pretty sure last year. Sorry, Clark. I don't mean to step on you, but I'm pretty sure that his trust went towards hiring or re-signing whatever the fuck that his name was, the mullet. God, what's his name?
Mike Gundy.
Mike Gundy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that trust went towards re-signing Mike Gundy. If I read that right. Which, I mean, would not surprise me if that did more for the NIL there, too.
Who knows? I mean, can they really compete with Iowa State's suck-up money? I doubt it. I mean, Iowa State's got that big farm money. They're really willing to take those bank loans and just dole out the money like those farmers do.
I also hear the Big 12 refs are backing Iowa State, too. So.
There we go.
Yep.
Yeah, all those farmers with all those, $200,000, tractors and fucking all the
$1,000? Are you kidding me? Those things cost more than that. Fucking combine cost $1 million.
Well, exactly. You know what I'm getting at. Their money's not very liquid. But everyone thinks they're fucking rich.
That's right. Playing with the bank's money, baby. Let's do it. That's all the farmers know how to do.
I guess all I'm saying is Oklahoma State has more backers than most of the Big 12 schools, and I think that they make a huge splash in the Big 12 going forward. Don't get me wrong. I do think Iowa State, with Matt Campbell and stuff, still represents and still plays them well. With OU and Texas gone, if I'm someone in Texas and Oklahoma and I'm a big-time recruit, I might look at Oklahoma State and think, man, I can get more money there than if I go try to compete and get more money, get money from these SEC schools that are just now transferring. So,
and then they'll look at it and be like, "Oh, you're actually Kansas talent." So sorry. See,
well,
good luck as a Jayhawk.
Well, and also hold on. Yeah, exactly. There's also the WWE is already in Stillwater, looking at AJ Ferrari and other Oklahoma State wrestlers. I mean, if they find a cool ass football player like Big E from the Iowa Hawkeyes, if they could find someone like that, I mean, that's money they could also throw around to that program. I mean, I don't know. There's things that I think Oklahoma State. Sorry, I'm just rambling now.
It is going to be very interesting to see how NIL shapes NCAA football over the next couple of years. That is for damn certain.
Right.
So we done here with college football. We can skip along to college basketball. The
Boone Pickens.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend anybody or anything, but that's my thoughts.
You're not
I really
not
didn't think
offending
Boone
anybody.
Pickens was going to be the big money turn for the Big 12.
I mean, Oklahoma State is having the oil money, you know.
Yeah.
So I can see that. I can totally see it. So.
The boys from the Heartland will be right back.
Let's skip into college basketball here. Again, the Heartland is well represented in the top 25. The top 10 has a few teams with Purdue, Kentucky, and KU rounding out the top 10. Wisconsin's 11. What's that?
I was just saying Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's 11. Iowa State's 20. LSU is 25. And Iowa's still
LSU
getting
just
votes.
lost to Ole Miss too.
But I mean, they're still in the top 25.
Trash.
They are
That's true,
not
you're
looking
cold.
good. Let's skip to let's just go straight to the SEC so I can update you.
Do it.
Auburn
Yeah.
looks great. LSU looks like garbage. They finally got Xavier Pinson back, and they lost tonight with him. They didn't look good at all. I watched them dribble down the floor very slowly, and the ball bounced off the guy's foot for a turnover. So that's where they're at right now, and that's SEC talk.
So,
How about the number one team in the nation? I think they're in the SEC. Got anything on them?
Yeah, I said Auburn's awesome. Auburn's very good.
Oh,
So,
okay. I missed
So,
that. It was very
They
quick.
they are
very
currently beating Alabama 95-75 with a minute left.
So it looks
Hot
like they're going to
damn.
have another win. So in the Big 12, Iowa State is 20th. They did win their Big 12 SEC showdown game versus Mizzou. Don't know if we got the old telephone trophy from that or not, but we should have. It's a cool trophy, even though you guys hate it.
I
Ugly
think
as shit.
Bryant's the one who hated it so much.
Yeah. I mean, I can love it and still admit it's ugly. You know,
Just the
both
I know.
should be right.
We had a poll on this if it was ugly or not.
Did we?
Yeah, hold on. I'm going there. Sorry, keep talking.
I'm pretty sure I just posted the picture and said this is ugly.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. So, so Iowa State escapes with a win there in the Big 12 SEC showdown. They beat Oklahoma State in overtime, and then about an hour ago, they lose to KU at home. I thought Iowa State would win that game. KU had their leading scorer was out,
Yeah.
Agbaji.
Yeah.
I thought Iowa State would win that. I really did, especially with what Iowa State did at Allen Fieldhouse a couple weeks ago.
Mhm.
And yeah,
But they've really lost a step on the offensive side, dude. I don't
they
know.
have.
They've never been, because we saw, I think it was Jackson State or whoever. It was like 45-30, whatever. It was a super low scoring game, and it was a bit of a concern. It's like, well, if your defense is going to play that well, that's fine, but our defense isn't stepping up, and that's one thing Otts has been talking about. Like tonight, he goes, "We were embarrassed out there. We lack the defense that we always have." You know, considering Kansas's starters that were out and, you know, top score not in. And when I was watching, Iowa State was never in the game. You know, there was not a moment where it's like Iowa State lost it. It was Kansas just held the lead and kept it at that point. So I don't know if Otts needs to bring someone in the offseason or what the hell we need to do, but we got to figure out how to, you know, get out of these ruts and be able to score. It's just terrible. I'm sorry. I'm going to keep rambling, but yeah, it's just we haven't been great offensively, and we need to get some change there.
Yeah, I think I touched on this last week or the week before, but I think Otts is just implementing his style right now. This is just his first year, you know.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, we're going to be hard-nosed. We're going to play defense. And I think that's what they're implementing now. And then I think the offense will come maybe maybe next year, you know, or in a year or two, they'll get offense going. So hopefully that's the case. But it seems like every other game, Iowa State doesn't even score 60 points.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to win a lot of games in the Big 12 doing that.
I think there's obviously every Cyclone fan is very grateful that you're excited about Cyclone basketball again. And we're talking about Hilton Magic. That hasn't been there since the early Prom years, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have it, but it's nice to have an athletic program now. Pollard has done a fantastic and amazing job getting this program where success is expected, and it's not just, sports are kind of like a thing you might go to the tailgate and get drunk on a Saturday. Maybe you'll go to the game. Now we're kind of appointment television, and the program overall is succeeding. So it's nice that our fan base is realizing that Otts is good, but we know we can get better if we do want to compete with the Kansases, with the top tier Big 12 schools. I mean, hell, Texas Tech has been looking amazing. I didn't see the Texas game. They might have lost, but up until that point, they've started to look amazing when they've had all their starters too.
I feel like Iowa State would really benefit from finding some solid offensive players, because looking at the box scores here, Brockington had 28 of their attempted field goals. Like, you look at the other starters, nobody else even has 10 attempted 2-point field goals.
And I would say, and maybe I kind of turned it off when we were down 12 when we started recording anyways, but when Brockington, though, when he has that shot, there is sometimes last week in that Oklahoma State game, I've always thought, get in close to the rim, shoot, or your 3-pointers, nothing in between. Brockington hits that fucking 17 to 19 foot shot, mid-range shot every fucking time. And if he doesn't have it, it seems like we're not going to win, because like you said, he takes a large chunk of the shots. And if they're not going down, we don't have the backup. Sometimes Tyrese is there, but if we don't have a second player that can get hot, maybe without the number of shots that Brockington's going to have, you can see what happens. We lost to fucking TCU 2 weeks ago at home. There was a blowout. I would have never thought, we all talk about the Big 12 is tough, but I would have never thought TCU would come into Ames, Iowa and just destroy us.
Yeah.
And TCU, they won their Big 12 SEC game against Ryan's LSU Tigers.
Again, LSU is not good at the moment, so
trash.
Good job, good job, TCU.
Well, and the good thing, obviously, and same thing with Iowa State. We got another month before the conference tournaments start, and March Madness and stuff like that. Both teams should be making the tournament unless they have a monumental, amount of losses in February. But yeah, it's not. Neither team really is inspiring too much hope right now. We beat the teams we were supposed to last week. Oklahoma State's last in the division with Kansas State, and we weren't to the level that we were, it seems like, a month ago. So hopefully Otts can get it turned around before we get to Kansas City.
It was a fun first month of the season.
Yeah, remember when our teams were undefeated and it was super fun?
Yeah.
The good old days.
Well, I guess, Clark, we talked about a loss in the game tonight. Clark, if you want to talk about a win in the game tonight, go right ahead.
Yeah, I do want to talk about that. Rock Chalk Jayhawk. All right.
Jesus.
I think I'm watching this game. I was kind of curious to see how it play out since Ochai Agbaji was out due to COVID protocol. Remy Martin's still not healthy. I saw a report. Somebody talked about Bill Self about Martin. Kind of concerning since he's been out day to day here for several weeks now. Mm-hmm. And the issue is that Remy Martin, whenever he does try to do something on the floor, he's still not 100%. Like, Bill Self wants Remy Martin to be able to play. He wants him to be able to play to his full potential. And that's just not happening right now. Like, Remy Martin, he's still 60 to 70% of what he could be. So that's why he's still resting. So they didn't have that big time leader on the floor. I feel like McCormack stepped up. He's their, I would say, undersized forward. He's really their only big guy that they have. And he was solid tonight. He hit a couple jumpers whenever I was watching the game. They're trying to run a little bit of pick and roll and stuff. And instead of going all the way to the basket, because Iowa State's defense is so good at falling down and that helps ID, he would kind of just turn and take that high post shot. And I mean, he was solid, a solid look from there. So I think Kansas played very well as a unit tonight. I didn't see anybody that really stood out head and shoulders above, like they took over, like this was their breakout game or anything.
Mhm.
I think his name is Wilson. He kind of stepped into a role for starting tonight. I feel like he played pretty solid minutes. So I feel like Kansas, kind of concerned about how shallow they seem to be as far as their roster, but they have guys that always step up into the minutes. Bill Self always has a good roster. He has his guys prepared. Christian Brown played very well tonight. He was playing well. They played well defensively, which was surprising to me. So
that's what I was just going to say. Like you said, no one stood out amazingly, but it's got to feel good that now that if you do get your starters back, that Martin, I apologize, the other guy, I don't know how to pronounce his name. But I mean, with those two out, because that could just very well be they're out with injury, sick tonight. They could be foul trouble later into the year in the tournament, and to have these backups, like I said, it's not too much depth. I don't think anyone has a full. The only coach I know that really tried to do that was Fran for a few years. Try and get the full 10, 11 players on the bench, getting a significant playing time. But now you think you're down to your bottom 7, 8 right now, and you're. Like you said, well, you beat Iowa State on the road, and it wasn't really much of a contest.
Yeah.
I know what Kansas expected. They're a great great basketball school. Not football, but it's got to be encouraging, even with your stars out. Obviously, you're reloading with a 5-star right behind him, but feels good to still get that win.
Football's over, brother. Welcome to the hoops.
Yeah.
Hey, Trent, which sound is worse, Rock Chalk Jayhawk or Go Pack Go?
Oh my God.
Rock Chalk. Well, shit, I'm a Chiefs fan.
I mean, don't want to stab my right ear with a dull pencil or my left ear with a dull pencil.
Bunch of haters out here. I tell you
Yeah.
what. Looking forward, those Jayhawks this week, they got to deal with the Baylor Bears, and then they're on the road facing off against the Texas Longhorns.
That's
couple good
Saturday,
matchups.
isn't it? The KU Baylor game.
Is what?
That's Saturday, right?
Correct. Yes, it's on the 5th. So that one should be good. The Bears are coming to Lawrence for that game, so hopefully there's a little bit of magic happening there at Allen Fieldhouse.
Is the magic that the refs swallow their whistles, or what's the magic?
No, it's the Allen Fieldhouse falling apart and smashing the opponents in the face with the scoreboard.
It doesn't even smash the opponents in the face. It smashes the KU players in the face. That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Just taking out our own players with our scoreboards falling apart. No big deal.
It happens.
Yeah, so yeah, they got a couple tough ones coming up on the schedule. I'm curious to see how they fare. Hopefully Ochai is back, and I'm curious to see if they'll make any progress with Remy Martin. But down the road in Manhattan, they're still fighting, still staying alive over there. They are last in the conference as far as conference standings go. Their record for the year is now 10-10. They did lose their matchup in the old SEC challenge. They were at Ole Miss for that game. They lost by looks like
11.
9. Was it 11? Shit, 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too many whiskeys, I tell you what.
Yeah.
But they have the Oklahoma State Cowboys coming to town, and then they're heading down to Fort Worth to take on the old Horned Frogs. So got a good couple matchups. Those are winnable games. I think with the Big 12 competing the way it is, those two teams aren't too overpowering. I think those should be probably 50-50. I would expect over this weekend. And then here in Wichita, the old painful thing that is the Shockers. They are 1-5 in the conference right now. I feel like they've really underperformed from their expectations. I feel like the Shockers always have high expectations coming from around this area.
Mm-hmm.
There's no football. Everybody's just always waiting for the next basketball season. Once the season's over, they're just talking about next year already. So got no other distractions down here. Shit, the fucking snow that's coming in is going to be not even as cold as what their shooting has been. So Curious to see how it goes. They just beat Tulsa tonight, so that's a step in the right direction. Tulsa is dead last in the conference, absolutely terrible. So good for Wichita State. Maybe you can get some momentum back because they've got back-to-back match against SMU. This is going to be one of their makeup games from the COVID week. So on the 3rd, which is Thursday, they will be traveling to Dallas to play at SMU. Then on Saturday, they will be here in Wichita to play SMU. And then next Tuesday, they got to go to Florida to take on UCF. So I think they're probably going to get their ass kicked by SMU, but back-to-back days. And then I think that UCF game's definitely winnable. So we'll see how they fare. Hopefully they can get going in the right direction here.
Yeah, maybe they start picking up steam.
Or they fall apart. Who knows? I mean,
it is one of the
ways. Oh, man. All right. Well, Joey, any news on Iowa?
Yeah, I'm standing here at my window looking outside at all the rain coming down, and it's freezing right now. It's about ice cold, basically what the Hawkeyes have been lately. They lost to Purdue by 10, which, I mean, that's Purdue, but
it was in double overtime. No, wait,
yeah,
no,
I know.
Never mind. I'm thinking Penn State. Sorry.
Yeah, so we're going to get a bunch of snow tomorrow, and it's going to bury us, and that's basically what the tourney chances are for Iowa now after losing to Penn State in double overtime. Not looking good for the Go Hawks. I like how Bryant brought up Fran McCaffrey playing all 10 to 11 people. Yeah, we're still doing that, but it's still a two-man show up in Iowa City. It's the Murray brothers and then no one else. I see Connor got hurt and taken out, which I think is a blessing in disguise. I'm not a huge Connor McCaffrey fan. Yeah, it was just not a good game last night when Iowa loses to Penn State 90-86. They got a big game coming up against Ohio State, and then they need to do some damage in the Big Ten. They need to win against Minnesota, Maryland, and stuff. Looking elsewhere in the Big Ten, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Illinois are all tied for the Big Ten lead. If you told me right now I had to pick a Big Ten team to come out and be in the, say, the Elite Eight or the Final Four, I would say it might be Wisconsin. They have people that can play on both sides of the ball. Johnny Davis is very, very fucking good. And he, unlike Keegan Murray, who can't shoot clutch shots, he is willing to take all the shots and make them. Wisconsin looks really good right now. Purdue is also very good. They're a game back. They lost a couple games in the Big Ten, which is fine. I think that's going to be a great showdown in the Big Ten tournament. Also see what they can do for damage in the NCAA. As far as the Hawkeyes go, they need to show more. They need to win more of the games that they need to win and are supposed to win. Last night, they should have won that game. And they should have beat Rutgers. I don't know. It is what it is. They beat Penn State by 17 like 4 games before that. So,
well, can Iowa quit losing so Iowa State quits losing quad 1 wins? You're starting to hurt our program over here, dude.
Hey, you know how we feel in football then.
Yeah.
You get it.
I saw plenty of Iowa State people today that was like, God, we should just end the rivalry. It does nothing. If they win, we win. It's the exact opposite of the football argument.
So last night I did watch the end of the Iowa Penn State game, and it was pretty crazy at the end of regulation when I don't even know who it was for Iowa that had the ball and like totally airballed that 3 to win it. But Keegan Murray was like streaking under the basket, just happened to tip it right before the buzzer went off, and it goes in for a 2-pointer, and then it sends him in overtime. So it was a good ending to the game.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch it. I'm not going to lie to you. Between all the wrestling and the UFC and football I've been watching, I've been kind of sported out for a second. So I took the night off and just watched games, but also followed it on Twitter. And it seemed like a very, very good game. But all of Iowa Twitter was like, why are we not beating these people? I don't get it. We killed them by 17, 2 games ago. What the fuck's going on? It just seems like they're kind of burnt out. And I think the January slump is hopefully over. If we get past Fran's normal January slump, then we can jump into all of February and just run the gambit like they normally do.
Well, Joey, if you want to cheer yourself up with some Iowa talk, you can just roll right into combat sports here.
No, that's not going to cheer me up because they just lost to Penn State.
You could talk about Iowa State. They won.
I'll let Bryant go first about Iowa State, and then you and I.
Yeah, I mean, no, honestly, nothing too crazy on it. Just, Iowa State, they finally cracked back into the top 5. And we kind of talked about it last week. They finally got the coach, and they finally got the program back to where it was, probably around Cale Sanderson's time. They're, now they cracked the top 5 with a win over Oklahoma State, 20-12. But Oklahoma State is down AJ Ferrari, who was in a car accident last week. I don't, Joey, do you know how significant those injuries were? I believe it's just he's recovering at this point, right?
Yeah, I think he will probably be back for the Big 12. He has to be back for the Big 12 tournament in order to make NCAA's. He is ranked number 1, so he could injury default out. And still just not be seated at the NCAAs and still make it.
Okay.
So that's not a big deal. But yeah, he has to at least wrestle for a minute, and then he could still be seated, which would be fine.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't say so. That's good news because again, you never want to see it. The Stars, like you said, he's the WWE NIL deal down there in Oklahoma State, and really any star. It diminishes it a little bit, but still, there's 9 other wrestling matches that dictated this whole thing, and Iowa State did come out ahead of Oklahoma State, and UNI, University of Northern Iowa, beat Oklahoma State 19-15 earlier in the week 2 after they started down 12-0 in their matches. So to be able to climb back, and UNI, I believe they're Big 12, aren't they, in wrestling?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of nice seeing the Big 12 have a little bit more competition there. Oklahoma State, I believe, is the team to beat in the Big 12. And it's just nice to see Iowa State, at least dual meets, we're top 5. I think we're top 15 still in just overall tournament. But, yeah, I'd say solid weekend for Iowa State. Just, keep on keeping on until you get to the tournament. And, that's going to be David Carr's time to shine. And might see some of these other, younger wrestlers not as experienced be able to actually make some noise in the tournament.
Actually, Iowa State's cracked the top 5 in dual meets. They have a very solid team. That's how good their team is. That they could
only lost
beat
to Iowa.
Only losses to Iowa, who just lost to Penn State. Iowa State is a very good team. They just don't have the big stars to get bonus points in the NCAA tournament in order to score points and make a big splash there. I don't know. The rankings I follow, they're 13th in tournament. I don't agree with that. I think they could, I think they can outscore Cal Poly, Minnesota, Virginia Tech, North Carolina State, Cornell. I think they'd be, I hate to say this, right under Nebraska. Nebraska's got some big guns that could score points in multiple weight classes, where Iowa State's probably got 1 or 2 that could score points. But Iowa State's also going to put a bunch in the tournament because they're in the Big 12. So we'll see what the allotments go out mid-February and see what conferences get different seedings and what conferences get different people in different weight classes. So I think Iowa State can do that. But big news, Penn State wins the Super Bowl of the wrestling season and beats Iowa. Not a great night for me, but I still won $20 because Cassiope beat Kirk Litt at heavyweight. It was a good night of wrestling. Everything went Penn State's way, which and they got a shit ton of good people, good wrestlers. Drake Ayala from Fort Dodge did not end up wrestling at 125, which I think could have been a difference maker. get us a couple more points. But yeah, Penn State walked away with it, so good for them. Snapped Iowa's 29 meet winning streak. Well, now it's just up to the Big Tens and the NCAA tournament to see what actual team comes out on top. Iowa wrestled really well, and they wrestled very well in the matches where it was 1 versus 2. It was very close most of the night, and I think that we're going to get some good fucking matches in the Big Tens and also the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, that match with Starocci and Kemmerer, that was might be some of the best back and forth. Countering a counter to it was just amazing watching those two go back and forth, and it went past overtime and it went to sudden victory, which
right.
I would say, I don't know if you want to go into that a little bit, Joey, but I would say that was one of those, if you want to see someone get into see probably one of the best matches of the year, but maybe of in quite a while, that would be the show them.
And very much so, I agree with you. I think the Kemmerer, if he would have kept his head up at the end, I think he could have came away with that match. But there were so many good scrambles and stuff. And both, I mean, when you get into sudden victory, both wrestlers are almost dead. And not almost dead, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like super, super fucking tired. And so, the way, I don't know what I would say. Anyway, it was a very good match. I think that and the Nick Lee Ironman match, I think that's going to go, multiple rounds in both the Big Tens and the NCAA, especially for seeding. I think that it was a good meet for both, and I think that Iowa comes away with knowing what they need to work on, and that helps. And then Penn State also, they just look lights out. So, I mean, they are as advertised, and Spencer Lee, don't get me wrong, would help very much, but I also think Drake Ayala could hold his own against Hildebrandt. So, yeah.
I just think it's always funny. You see the juxtaposition of, you see the Brands brothers, where they're just not hooting and holler, but they're very emotional and they're very vocal and pointing and stuff like that. And then you point to the Penn State side, and I don't know if I saw Cale Sanderson even lip one word. He just stood there fucking silent the whole time compared to Terry and Tom.
Right, and I know I said this while wrestling was going on. Cale Sanderson is a very, very fucking good wrestler. Do not get me wrong whatsoever. Mm-hmm. But if he... Never mind. I don't need to go into what I think about Cale Sanderson.
Well, you set it up.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'll start it here, Joey. It reminds me of Hoiberg at Iowa State, where, we have a very good team and we might need to make adjustments in a basketball game, but he's sitting there, stone-faced, and you saw it with the Bulls. He's standing there very stoic and not like pointing out or saying anything. He's letting them play it out, which I'm always wondering, like, I guess maybe to one point you've prepped them so well so they should know what they need to do, but like, it's weird to not see the leader of your team not giving the guidance.
Well, and Cale's been there, done that type of guy. And so are the Brands, don't get me wrong. But Cale is way more methodical, way more, this is what should be happening, this is what needs to be happening, this is what you need to do, get it done type of people. Where the Brands are, we're going to will you to win. And it was, we watched the part of the Brands documentary afterwards, and you could see just how intense they were from almost birth. They just went at each other all the time. Mm-hmm. Cale Sanderson was not that, and he was very much a methodical, I'm going to score when I need to score type of a wrestler. This is my big take. I don't know if Cale Sanderson is a 4-time undefeated champion with today's rules.
Oh.
I still think he is a 4-time champion. I think he gets it done.
Yeah.
But I think that he gets stalling calls where he should have gotten stalling calls in his career and maybe lost a couple matches, especially against like Daniel Cormier, where Cormier pushed and pushed and pushed, and Cale Sanderson just kind of backed up and then countered. Well, you can't do that now. Yeah. And you can see that with like Starocci, where he got the 2 stalling calls against Kemmerer. Yep. And you can see that kind of style that Cale does compared to the Iowa style. And it was, like you said, it was a very juxtaposition on the different styles of the different coaches based on what wrestlers were going for and what wrestlers were trying to capitalize on the moment. Penn State is very, very fucking good at that. And they don't, I'm not going to say they don't have the horses that they used to with like Bo Nickel and Jason Nolf and stuff that would just go out and get shit done. But they are very much more in the mode now where they will capitalize when they need to and wrestle smart. And then that also backfires, like in the heavyweight match where Kirkfleet lost to Cassiope because he was just waiting. And Cassiope just kept pushing and didn't make a mistake. So Kirkfleet couldn't capitalize on that. I think that Cale Sanderson's a very good coach, don't get me wrong. But I think that might come back and bite him. I mean, I know they had 4 champions this last year, but if you get super aggressive people in the first couple 2-3 rounds of the NCAA tournament, I don't know which one it's going to be, but I just have a feeling one of those Penn State people is going to get upset. And if I had to make a prediction, it would be Roman Bravo Young, because he kind of goes against the whole Cale Sanderson thing, but he still kind of waits, and I think someone's going to come at him.
Mm-hmm. Think it might be DeSanto? Or
I do not. I actually think it'll be Sebastian, because I think Sebastian Rivera is he's at 141. Who the fuck am I talking about? Sorry, Dayton Fix. So I think I think Fix will get, man, they just wrestled last year. Never mind. Forget what I said. But I do think RBY will be the one to get caught. Just because he's kind of reckless, but.
Well, and exactly. I mean, like you said, there's the methodical, and then there's kind of the reckless showmans, and those are the ones where, like you said, all you got to do is catch them. All of them are at that elite level. Some of them, like, Carr and some of these others that are well above it. You catch guy on one bad flip, and all of a sudden, that's the match right there. And especially in the NCAA tournament, that's when you're going to catch them.
And so the other match I want to talk about, Michigan wrestled Minnesota. Michigan walked away with the meet, but the match of the night was Gable Steveson versus Mason Paris. And Steveson made it a point. This is the 7th time in a row beating Mason Paris. And there was a little bit of pushing and shoving at the end, a little bit of shit talking. And he ended up tech falling him. Like, it was a good fucking match for Gable Steveson. Like, he was just done with this. I mean, he's an Olympic champion, world champion, and he's kind of like, I'm done with you. Just get away from me. And I mean, Gable's going to walk through the NCAA tournament, but Mason Paris, I don't know. He looks very vulnerable. He's lost 2 in a row now. So, yeah.
Who else do you know who else he lost to?
Kirkfleet from Penn State, which Cassiope just beat. I do think Mason Paris is still the 2nd best heavyweight in the nation. I don't know. I don't like that Schultz from Arizona State. He's the only one that's not a freestyle champion, that I know of in anything. And I don't know. I just think Arizona State hasn't wrestled anybody, and I think someone from the Big Ten is going to clip him very easily, to be honest with you. Yep. So there's that. And then we also got the Bellator stuff that I touched on last time in the combat sports. Ryan Bader ends up retaining his heavyweight belt by a unanimous decision. And then Benson Henderson also wins in a unanimous decision, which I didn't think was going to happen. He was fighting Nurmagomedov, which is a Dagestani wrestler, and I thought he would take it to him. But good for Benson. He's back on the winning side after a 7-fight losing streak. So, yeah.
Excellent.
And that's all I got for the combat sports.
The boys from the Heartland will be right back.
All right, well, let's jump around here to gaming. For the 2nd week in a row, some big money being thrown around in the gaming world.
That's right.
Go ahead, Clark.
Gaming studios are worth more than NFL franchises. So Sony has buying Bungie for $3.6 billion.
Damn.
What all?
Halo going to PlayStation. That sucks.
Halo is now by 343 Industries, so not quite there, fella.
Just Destiny at this point.
Yeah. So Bungie's been developing Destiny over the past several years, Destiny and Destiny 2 and all their expansions. There's actually, I was just seeing that there was a trailer coming out for Destiny 2's next big expansion, the Witch Queen, which comes out on the 22nd. So Sony will be reaping all the royalties from that. And Destiny is still very much alive. I saw something posted about their player totals from would have been 2 days ago, I guess. But there were like 400,000 players from PlayStation that were on Destiny at one time, compared to Xbox, which had like 300,000. PC had like a 300,000 total. So Destiny is still very much alive, and I'm kind of curious if Bungie has some direction for the future. Sony's obviously buying into that. So
it sounds like Sony is still gonna have Bungie develop for multi-platform. So I don't think it's gonna be exclusives.
Yeah, and there have been some people in the gaming industry news. There are going to be more announcements about different studios going to different owners, Sony, Microsoft, whatever, still to come over the next few months. Not deals that are made reactively to these purchases. Like Sony didn't go say, "Hey, Bungie, we're buying you," because Microsoft bought somebody last week. Like these deals take months to iron out. So this has been in the works, and there's more things to come.
Anything else going on in the gaming world?
Gaming wise, I did teach my nephews how to play Madden. They were talking big game over the weekend. So we went I showed them how to do random teams. You got to go the old random route if you're going to play. I'm trying to remember who he had, but I had the Broncos, and Von Miller had about 20 sacks. It was ridiculous. It was a 70-0 affair.
Ooh,
Jesus, no mercy.
Oh, none. Like when you're taking on the youngsters, you got to show them what it's really like.
I would say usually it's like you get up by like 28 or 35, and it's like, all right, we just start a new game at this point. Clearly, there's no coming back.
Yeah, no mercy.
No mercy.
So I made a purchase on Amazon the other day, and it did arrive yesterday. I need to get it hooked up, but it is a red, yellow, white to HDMI. So I can hook up the old Super Nintendo.
Ooh.
Because these new TVs don't have red, yellow, whites anymore.
Yeah.
So had to get a converter. Now I can play some originals and don't have to play those games on the Switch.
That's exciting. I see they announced MLB The Show for 22 for March release, I think, March or April. And that will once again come to Xbox Game Pass. And it's actually coming to Nintendo this year. So I feel bad for Sony. They have to develop the game just to go to Microsoft's Game Pass service.
And I do believe Nintendo leaked early who the deluxe edition cover would be with Jerry Jeter. And then the official cover athlete for the show is our wonderful Over the Seas unanimous AL MVP, Ohtani.
Yes, I saw.
Ichiro?
No, not Ichiro. Not Ichiro, you son of a bitch.
It's 2022, not
It
2006.
It is the Marvel that pitches and hits Shohei Ohtani.
Well deserved.
Yeah.
All right, anything else to add to gaming, or we want to head to everybody's new favorite topic, which is the movie minute?
I think this is more Trent's favorite because he can get, pour a glass of, whatever he's drinking at this point, kind of get ready for some of the things while we bullshit about it.
Yeah,
He's gonna get his warm milk right now.
I can just log off, go get tucked into bed.
I'm curious what's been happening on Pawn Stars, though. I mean, I need an update from Trent.
I haven't seen Pawn Stars in ages. No, I finished Letterkenny season 10 though this week. So,
all right, what's your review on that?
Season 10 was great. A lot better than season 9. I know a lot of people didn't like season 9. I watched all of it, so I could say that I've watched all of Letterkenny. I did see, I can't remember, it was on one of the actors' Instagrams that they actually recorded like 2 seasons. So I don't know when they're going to drop that season 11. So hopefully that comes out soon, now that, there's only 6 episodes. So it takes you literally less than 2 hours to binge it because it's only 20 minutes an episode. So
Yeah.
I suggest Letterkenny. If you've never seen it, go get yourself some Hulu and watch it.
What is next on Trent's list to watch?
Home Team with Kevin James.
Yes.
All right.
I mentioned on here, I think we're all good with doing the review of it next week, right? I mean, we've been bullshitting about Kevin James as Sean Payton. I think we gotta give it a shot.
I can't watch it. I can't get myself to watch it. Sorry.
You know what? Honestly, for Vikings fans, if you want to sit it out, I understand completely. Like making a guy that set up Bountygate as Kevin James slipped on a banana comedy. I can understand.
Yeah, I can't do it. So I look forward to hearing your review, but I can't. No,
What,
I'm not putting myself through that.
What platform will that be on?
It's
That's
on
on
Netflix.
Netflix?
I came across it last night when I was.
You know what? For the content and for the pulse, I will watch it and give a review with Bryant.
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service, Joey.
Ryan appreciates your
right now.
sacrifices.
Yeah, I am not making that sacrifice. I will shoot my TV.
I can't say I'll make it through the whole thing, but I will watch it.
What if it shows the Minneapolis Miracle, though? Don't you want to relive that?
Yeah, like they're gonna make Sean Payton look bad. What part of the Minneapolis Miracle? The part where he's making fun of the Vikings skull chant and their fans, or the minute after that happens and he looks like a complete dickwad?
All of it.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be the Minneapolis Miracle where he catches a touchdown and Kevin James is gonna have a look like he trusted a fart too much. The wide eyes. I think that's what they're gonna have in there.
I see it's got a 25% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, even better. I love all these shitty Sandler movies.
That's better than most Kevin James movies. So
And a 49% audience score, which, a lot of times audience and critics don't agree with each other, but this one seems to be agreed upon.
Well, nobody said they were exclusively releasing it in Minnesota for the first week. Jeez.
Sean Payton makes a guest appearance in this movie, by the way.
Oh, God.
So, Jim Nance, Bill Cowher, Dan Patrick, how could you not want to watch this movie?
See,
is this an Adam Sandler movie?
Basically, minus Adam Sandler. It's got Rob Schneider, Gary Valentine, most of the usuals.
See, I could, if it's something about the Packers, I can respect the Packers. I hate the Packers, but I respect them. There is no respect for me for that Saints organization.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. The Aints. I can understand it. Well, like I said, you can just hear us just listen to the review of this terrible movie. But yeah,
Thank you.
Like I said, we've been talking about it so long, I feel like it's a disservice we don't sit through a 90-minute movie of Kevin James trying to corral some kids to play better football.
I don't see there's a crazy Scientologist chick on there. What's that about?
Leah
Remini?
Yep, her.
Yeah.
Is that going to be Peyton's wife? It's
Like
just gonna
crazy to
basically
be hot?
It's going to be King of Queens, basically.
Yeah.
Should
Well,
yeah, that'd be the only reason to watch it.
That's what happened with he had a show on CBS, Kevin Can Wait, and they started with a different wife, like a blonde wife. Season 1 didn't go so well, and they just replaced the wife with Leah Remini, and it was King of Queens 2.0.
I mean, King of Queens is that great. Just bring it back.
Yep.
Rip
Old Man
Ben
Stiller.
Dad. Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to Boba Fett then.
Was it Boba Fett this week? Because I'm pretty sure. Well, hold on. Spoilers if you haven't watched Mando, which I'm sure at this point you haven't. But are we sure it wasn't just an episode of Mandalorian?
I think that is what irritated me the most about this, because I feel like taking all this critical content from the Mando
Mhm.
series and just sticking it in the middle of freaking Boba is going to leave several souls out there lost at some point.
Yeah.
I that's what irritated me the most, I think, is that it's like, why are we doing this now? Like, I feel like these are some important points that belong in the Mandalorian series. If they just fully expect everybody to ride along for all of Boba Fett, now Joey's gonna be lost because he said he's done.
I think
might get him back into it.
I think Disney realized that that not many people were really enjoying Boba Fett, so they're like, shit, let's throw Mando in there, try to save this season.
Yes, because they changed the writing and the acting for this last week in a week's notice. Yeah.
Yes.
They might have. I don't know.
They just totally scrapped what they had ready to record and just like, hey, we got this episode from Mandalorian season 3 ready to go. Let's just run that.
I mean, the most exciting part for me of Boba Fett was when the Mando flute came on episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, I was expecting maybe a little bit of Mando in season 5, but the first 5 minutes, holy crap, was that an awesome 5 minutes? And then you realize that this is going to be the whole episode. Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was my point of view.
Like, it was a great scene. But
Yeah.
why can't they do that with Boba? Why haven't they done that with Boba?
Yeah, I mean, there's a
Good
lot of
question.
stuff, but they've spent too long with like, well, he has to get his armor back, and these storylines are so drawn out. And I don't know if that's because the actor is just older, but like you said, the writing for the Mando, they jam packed a full I'll be honest, there's several episodes of Boba where I've fallen asleep, like at the theaters, like I always do, and I've had to rewatch it again because I've missed 20 minutes of it. This one, I was wide awake the whole time, and it's easy when you have 2 seasons of backstory and you have the Darksaber and you have, now he's creating what I'm assuming is like some armor or chain link for Grogu and he's about to go visit him, and it just felt like you said, I wish they would have had that opening scene and somehow tied it in better than just here's, 40 minutes of exposition and how exactly, like, we had to know how Mando got into, they're talking about we need to have higher muscle, Mando whistle. Okay, here's, this episode is how we get introduced, but I didn't think it should have been the whole episode. Like, first off, the bad thing is it was my favorite episode because it basically wasn't Boba, but it was, I wish there would have had a little bit more tie-in than her stopping at the end and going, hey, we have a job, and then that's how it ends,
Yeah.
I like how it takes 2 of the very pivotal things that Mando has collected over the past season. Oh, you got the spear by helping Ahsoka? Gone.
Yep.
Oh, you got the Darksaber by taking down Fett? Gone.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get why they. I don't know. Once they said this is the way, and then they said he wasn't a Mandalorian anymore. It was kind of one of those like, well, goddamn, I wish you would have told me this before you destroyed my spear. That would have been kind of fucking nice. Very top tier weapons,
Yeah, at least he lost with his little chain link, though. He's got that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm just curious to watch episode 6 now to see.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. How bad is it going to be compared to episode 5?
Well, I think this episode gave you enough of a jump start, to at least like, okay, now we're going to power through 6 because we know now Mando's going to be part of it. We knew about it in 4, but we've talked about how bad that slow chase was with like the fluorescent bright colors in the desert of Tatooine, and I really love the first episode. You're going to have slow, that's fine, excuse, and then the train.
That was great.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought, but that was a great episode. And then it just dropped off so badly, even though there was good elements in there. It was just, I'm at least excited for episode 6.
And 4 was a pretty good episode, and then you have 5, which is awesome. And again, I bring up Bryce Dallas Howard, but she does a freaking good job with these shows. I know Robert Rodriguez has another one. There's 2 episodes left, so he's 50% of the rest of the season, and I am not looking forward to that.
It's which half of the season left?
Yeah, if it's the season finale, then oh gosh, it's gonna be the worst season finale out there.
So that's where it's like, I hope whatever episode he has is gonna have Mando in there and kind of counteract. He can't screw it up too bad at that point.
Wait, watch. It's going to be Mando freaking driving a scooter himself.
Yeah.
I'm just going into this with an open mind.
Yep.
Like I don't know what's gonna happen. I can guess all I want, but obviously my predictions for like the first couple seasons or first couple episodes where it's like, oh, they're gonna be fighting the Huts. Nope.
No.
Oh.
Episode 2, they were out of there so fucking fast. Like, all right, see you later. Here's your tribute. You should get out of here too. The end.
Yeah.
Ryan, it looks like you said what's the show you're watching? Archive 81, is that correct?
So yeah, I started watching Archive 81. Am I the only one in the group that likes horror? I know Clark doesn't.
I can watch it from time to time. I don't seek it out though. I guess is this one good enough where you'd recommend it?
So
I have a Shudder account. I love horror.
Do you?
Like,
Okay.
Yes. Give me. I've never heard of it.
So it's not like terribly creepy. It's more of a psychological type thing, I guess.
Awesome.
And so Archive 81, it's based off of a podcast that has the same name of it. I don't know much about the podcast. Actually, I don't know anything about the podcast. But it's based off of that. This is produced. One of the producers is James Wan, which you would know him from Saw, Insidious. What's the other big one? Gosh, I can't think of the other one.
Hostel?
No. God dang it. Just the third one just came out not long ago. No, Conjuring, the Conjuring series.
No.
Yes.
So all right, that's my favorite horror franchise. So yes,
yeah. So
I'm all into this.
Right now, James Wan is probably the king of horror, in my opinion. Just so many good movies. So he's one of the producers for it. It's about a archivist who gets hired by a Fortune 500 company, a very mysterious Fortune 500 company, basically to go to this secluded building to live in and to start re-imaging these or putting together these videotapes from, I think, 1994. And it's about a apartment that got burnt down. People died there. And then he's going through all these videos of this girl took that she was working on for a school project, but also looking into it as for her own family's past. You start getting some supernatural type stuff, some cult type stuff with it. It's got a lot of different themes in it. I have one episode left. It's 8 episodes long. It's kind of a slow burn. It's kind of a slow burn, but it's very, very interesting to me.
Oh, fuck you. This looks amazing. That's not a bad fuck you. That's a good fuck you. Yeah. I'm watching the trailer right now.
Yeah, I saw an ad for it on Twitter, actually. I had never heard of it, and then I saw this ad on Twitter, and I'm like, what is this? So I started watching it earlier, I guess late last week, Thursday or something like that. Every time I have a few free minutes, I try to watch some part of an episode, and yeah, I've enjoyed it a lot.
Nice. My girlfriend will love this. I should definitely, we're gonna do this probably on Valentine's Day.
Have an 8-hour horror-thon.
Yeah, she's the whole reason I bought Shudder. She is very into horror.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm into this.
Well, here's the question to Joey: do you like horror video games?
Oh yeah, very much.
Have you played the newer Resident Evils 7 and 8?
No, I have not. I never got into those. Weren't they PlayStation exclusive back in the day?
Maybe back in the day, but so these new ones are way different than they used to be. They are two of the scary. Well, 8 wasn't too scary, but 7 is one of the scariest games I've ever played, and it's absolutely freaking phenomenal. And
so when I bought, sorry, go ahead.
8 isn't quite as scary, but I love it a lot more. It's better done. But yeah, I think those are two of my favorite games that I've played in the last 5 years easily.
So you had me sold on this when you said the Conjuring series, because that, like I said, is my favorite movie franchise of all time, regardless of horror, anything. Like, I love the Conjuring series. And then once you brought up Resident Evil, like, I love all that shit. When I first bought my first like HD TV and my PS3 with Blu-ray, I bought 2 Blu-ray videos. One was Kingdom of Heaven, which is fucking amazing. It looked awesome on my plasma, and so did Resident Evil 4, and I haven't watched a single one. I haven't watched a single Resident Evil since.
Those ones aren't the movies aren't very good.
Yeah. Well, man, you got me sold. Like, I love all of this. This is good. This is good. I'm very much into horror. Very much.
Awesome. Well, that's good to know because I know, like I said, I know Clark wasn't. I don't think Trent's really into it, so that's good to know.
So, as far as horror films, I mean, if we're gonna do this for a little bit, we got a little more time on the podcast. What are your favorite horror films?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to say lately the Conjurings are. What is your thought on the third one?
I like it. It's not the first one just had me on edge, and it's because it was completely different. Conjuring 2 was also fucking very good. And then when I started doing like Annabelle's Rising, Annabelle, whatever, like once I started deviating storyline, I was like, this is not so good. But I've also gotten into oh god, what's that Korean film? Shit. Well, they locked themselves with it. Anyway, I've gotten into a lot more like psychological horror, which is super fucking crazy when you get into that genre because all of it's just weird as shit. We just watched one with Emma Stone. Hold on a second. Sorry, you can keep talking if you need to.
Well, you'll have to send me a list of what to watch because I haven't had Rebecca doesn't care for horror that much, so mine is, to watch a movie is I have to have free time to do that, but definitely send me a list of your favorites.
Yeah, whatever the one I'm thinking of, they like fuck each other to pieces, and it's like a demonic ballet cult thing that is super fucking crazy. I don't know. Anyway, I love all of horror. If you don't have a Shudder account, you should definitely get one. Okay. It's fucking awesome. It's $60 a year. And there's all the horror films you can think of. I bought it at Halloween. Like I said, Rochelle, my girlfriend, really loves horror, and we just dive deep into that shit. It's fun.
Is that on like a Fire Stick or what is that on, Joey? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Shudder, like it's an app.
Yeah, it's an app.
It's like Netflix for horror, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep. Very much. I have it on Xbox. I have it on both of my Google Chrome. Yeah. My Chrome TV things, and then I just have it on my phone. So if I need to cast it.
I have to say that my favorite horror is probably psychological horror. Like, the really gruesome torture type stuff. That's kind of meh, but the stuff that makes you think, and I love that stuff.
So she's huge into Midsummer. I don't know if you've seen that before.
I have not.
It's like a Swiss woman's cult that like just tears people apart from the inside.
Oh, I've heard of that one. I'm looking it up right now. I have heard of it.
Yep, it's very, very fucking good. God, I wish I could remember. I will send you a link on the, where.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting anyone to say they actually enjoy it, so I'm thrown off here, Joey.
Yeah, me too. And I can't think of the things that I want to say. Yeah. But if anyone wants to hear about this, let us know. We can also do a horror film, 30-minute podcast someday.
I said I don't care for the gruesome type stuff, but then I see the remake of The Evil Dead, and God, I love that movie too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, very much so. With that woman coming out of the bottom of the fucking floor. Oh God, cool.
Yeah.
But
so yeah, if you watch it, definitely let me know what you think of it.
I'm definitely going to.
But that's kind of all I have for that. I'll have this finished by next week, and I can give my review. But I'll actually wait till Joey watches it so we can have a combined review.
Well, I will finish it this weekend. We're gonna hang out Friday, so.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
But don't forget to watch Home Team.
I will not. I'm home the next probably 3 days, so not going anywhere besides my brother's to go sledding with the kids.
Yeah. So somebody just typed this. Bryant actually just typed this into the agenda about Tim and Tommy miniseries on Hulu. I do want to watch that. I have seen previews for that and ads for that, and big Motley Crue fan, so that'll be a good one to watch. Yeah,
Man, you are very much into like the old school. Are you still into ZZ Top?
they're like my favorite band.
I knew they were
Old school band. Now, yeah, Motley Crue, like they did their. I'm putting up air quotes. You can't see me because we're not on YouTube Live. Their final tour, when they were with Alice Cooper down in Wichita, me and Katrina and my cousin David, we went to that concert and it was great. But I put the air quotes around that because now they're doing these stadium tours, and that's they're doing before COVID and stuff. So it wasn't their final tour, but yeah, no, I like Motley Crue, and this looks like a good series.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to really get into this because of star things, Seth Rogen and Nick Offerman are both like major characters in this.
Yeah.
So if you like anything Seth Rogen does, and then Parks and Rec, basically any other thing Nick Offerman does that you know him from.
Marvel fan Sebastian Stan is Tommy Lee. So
yeah.
Why didn't they just get was it Machine Gun Kelly? Isn't that who played Tommy in the Netflix Motley Crue movie that they put out a couple years ago?
I think so.
Wasn't it Machine Gun Kelly?
I can't remember, to be honest. I watched it hungover on a Sunday one time, but
pretty sure it was him because I couldn't tell you anything else Machine Gun Kelly has done, but I'm pretty sure he played Tommy Lee in that.
All I remember
it's called what? The Dirt.
Yeah, there you go, The Dirt.
Yep, that's who played him.
Yep.
I don't know. All I remember is the scene of Ozzy Osbourne drinking his own piss, and I was like, okay, it didn't take me out of it, but it was like it showed you just how fucked up really they were on everything they were doing.
Yes.
You know that has to be a great movie because Pete Davidson also starred in it, so you know it's got to be high quality.
There we go. Exactly right. Old
Whenever
himself.
Whenever I see Pete Davidson, I think, oh, I need to watch that in like 10 years.
Yeah.
Actually, for content for this weekend, maybe we should do a YouTube live of TV and movie things that we were watching, since, I mean, this is a huge segment for us right now.
That's good because we're going to need content going forward once the NFL's done.
Right. I mean, no one's going to talk about the Pro Bowl, so
yeah,
we could
Yeah,
do
we're
that.
all
we
gonna
have
be-
an actual football game, and we're like, you know what, man, let's talk about movies. Fuck it.
You know, I was thinking on the whole Pro Bowl thing. I think they need to turn it from football to a two-sport tournament and do a bowling and a golf tournament for it.
I'd be down.
That would be way more
interesting. You
interesting.
love.
Yes, it'd be way more interesting to watch the pro football players bowl in golf than it would to watch.
You know what? Actually, I agree with that. That'd be because, like, again, if you're going to be powder puff and not doing it, you might as well just do something that's not going to be overexerting and watching a fun, like how close to 300 they can bowl, or fucking how far can Justin Herbert, how far can he fucking drive a golf ball? And if he's terrible, that's even better. Like, oh man, this guy can pass for 300 yards and read every defense in the NFL, but he can't fucking hit a straight drive. And you know,
what a loser!
Yeah, it humanizes them. You know.
Do you guys remember, like, I don't know, 15 years ago when they were doing like the strongman competition, the Pro Bowl, and Warren Sapp lift pressed like 340 pounds, and it was just fucking amazing. Like, there's so many Iowa linemen that could do that just tomorrow. No big deal.
Corn fed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So going back to Bryant and Ryan's idea about the bowling thing, I did watch. Yeah. The PBA Players Championship was this past weekend. It was Saturday night, and I did watch Belmo, Jason Belmonte. He won his 14th major. Clark, did you catch that?
I did not get to watch that. Congrats to Belmo, greatest bowler ever.
Yeah, Sean Rash was the number 1 seed. Belmo was number 2. So Belmo won his match, and then he beat Sean Rash number 1.
Rash probably would have had a chance if he didn't hate urethane so much.
Yeah. He's, of course, wearing his Wichita State colors.
Yep.
Yeah.
We did watch the junior PBA championship last night.
Yeah.
I could not tell you the name of the kid that won it, but I think he bowled a 254. So
It's not the ginger assassin.
He wasn't a ginger, so
No, that kid, he's going Wichita State, isn't he?
So
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but
Yeah. He's the one that picked up the 710 split on TV like last year.
yeah.
For like
Not many have done that.
I
Only
think you
happened, like,
guys
3
still need
times.
to get your bowling pod up and running like the
Yeah.
combat sports. Get your call it 710 split or something, and then start doing that monthly or something. I don't know who the hell you're talking about here.
The Bowling Pod, brought to you by Radical Bowling Balls.
There you go.
All right. Anybody else have anything to add here before we wrap this up?
Did we say that we talked about Archive 81 and Hulu? Or I'm sorry, on Pam and Tommy. Did we say where they could watch it at in case they were interested after our riveting conversation?
Yeah, I got to see this.
It's on Hulu.
The Pam and Tommy is Archive 81. Isn't that Netflix, Ryan?
that's Netflix.
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure if we'd mention it, but if anything, one more time, just in case they missed it.
Yes, that would be Netflix.
All right. Well, let's wrap this thing up. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Appreciate you listening to the old pods as well. We also appreciate the feedback. So keep the feedback coming. Let us know how we're doing and what you want to hear us talk about. Joey, how can people get a hold of us?
Yolanda, I am sorry for talking shit about you earlier in the podcast, but you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Heartland Pulse. Find us on Facebook. Just search Pulse of the Heartland. Follow us on YouTube with our live streams that we always do. You can follow us on there. Hit us up in the comments. Let us know what we're doing. We can talk shit to us. We can talk shit back. That's always fun. And then we're always on the major platforms: Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeart, and Anchor link if you need it.
And remember, if it ain't broke, you're not trying.
Nice.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, everybody.